James, welcome back. How are you today? Thank you so much for talking to us.
Oh, doing great, man. Doing great. This has been a heck of a ride. Yeah, it's been airplanes and interviews and promos, and the premiere was amazing. And the audience seems to be really receiving us well. So yeah, I'm stoked to be here, man.
Absolutely, man. And the movie is great. Congratulations. I mean, it did great at the box office. It's killing it right now at the box office. And now it's Halloween week, literally going into Halloween weekend as we're recording this interview. And yeah, the fan response has been amazing. We love it. We love you in it. I've been saying it's the ultimate Michael Myers. And it is just everything we wanted. So congrats on Halloween Kills.
Thanks, man. Thanks. Yeah, I'd say congratulations to every single human being who worked on this film. I mean, most of the people came back from 2018. People left jobs on other films to come back to be in this, to work on Halloween Kills, and it was great to have our family back.
Yeah, it's great for us to finally have it after this long wait, and but it was definitely worth the wait. So let's talk a little bit about the film now. Now that because last we talked earlier this year, it was the marketing was just barely starting to begin, and the hype has just grown since then. And now the film's out, and everybody's going to see it multiple times. I've talked to a lot of people. So I know in 2018 there was a specific scene that you and Nick Castle shared, where Nick came in for a on-screen cameo appearance. And I remember you telling me the very first time we talked back in 2018 that it was very important to you that you guys shared that scene together, and you were both there on the day shooting it together. And it was very much a passing of the torch, a passing of the mask, more accurately.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you guys get to have another scene together in Halloween Kills?
And no, actually, there was the possibility of that. But in Halloween Kills, he's not actually physically in the movie. In 2018, I met him. He came in, I think it was the third week of filming, and we'd never talked about the character. We'd never talked about anything. We'd never met. He spent a week there, and immediately we were hoping that we would share a scene together, that we would inhabit the same scene, so that we could have that metaphorical passing of the torch, the passing of the mask, as you so aptly put it. And we did. So it was the window scene, when Laurie Strode pulls up and she sees him in the window, and then she shoots her rifle, and that was me in the mirror. So we accomplished what it is we wanted to accomplish, and there was this beautiful passing of the mask, as it were, the spirit of the shape. And in 2018, he's not in the actual movie. It's me. But the beauty of this is it's really spiritually poetic that he is the breathing. So when I'm stalking and you hear the breathing in the mask, it's Nick Castle breathing, which I think again is very poetic, because Nick is the spirit of this character. It's Nick's spirit that I reached in and grabbed to manifest the 2018 character. I carried that with me into Halloween Kills, and then so to have his breathing in the have him breathing the breath of life into the shape in Halloween Kills is really special. It's super special. Physically, the Halloween Kills is far more demanding, and there wasn't really the opportunity to have Nick's physical presence there. And there's you have to understand as well that first of all, it's extremely physical. Secondly, the mask is molded to my face. That mask is my face. And so, when any other person puts it on, the mask morphs. It's, Nick's face is longer than mine, and there's nobody's face like yours or like mine or like anybody else's. And so to have, to have someone put that mask on and play a scene or scenes would be really difficult. But Nick's presence and spirit is there, and And Nick is, Nick and I are incredibly good friends, wonderful friends. He's an amazing human being, one of the most talented artists I've ever met, and he's with us in spirit.
Very cool. And so just to make sure, because people have asked me, they're like, "Where's Nick Castle in the film?" And I'm like, "I don't know. I'm gonna try to find out." And I think some other publications have even said that he's on screen, but so Nick is not on screen in Kills, but it's the breathing, as was the breathing in 2018, but not an on-screen cameo this time.
Yeah, I mean, fake news, right? I mean,
Yeah.
but it's kind of fun that people have conjecture, and
Yeah.
they, and I've had people come to me and go, "So was it Nick that did the head tilt, or was it Nick
Right.
that, was it Nick in the courtyard in the beginning in 2018? No, that was
Oh,
me."
yeah.
So people have their ideas, and it's all in good fun, man. It's all in
Yeah.
good fun. But the simple truth is Nick passed the baton, and I'm running out this part of the race, man.
Oh man, and you are doing an amazing job at it. You got to see the finished film a little bit earlier than everybody. I know you were at the Hollywood premiere, but you got a private screening, I believe. Is that right?
That's correct. One of my representatives, Sean Clark, and I went to Blumhouse, and we had a private screening in a private screening room, and I'm really grateful for that. I'm glad Ryan Turek set that up for me. Ryan and Karen, all the wonderful people at Blumhouse, because I really don't like seeing myself on screen. That's not why I do it. I don't do it to watch myself. I do it for the experience of making a film. And I've had this conversation with David Green. Like, I sweat bullets, generally speaking, when I see a premiere, and I'm in it because I'm going to start analyzing and having the opportunity to see a final cut screening. Sort of allowed me to have the experience of seeing the film with my agent, with Sean Clark, and then to be able to go to the premiere and just relax and be with my Halloween family, and a theater filled with fans, and the Chinese theater in Hollywood. I mean, there's no greater place to premiere a film on the planet. And to walk the red carpet, and Nick and I walked the carpet together, and we did the Nick and Jim show again, and that was a lot of fun. And he dressed up as the young Nick, complete with that young head of curly dark Italian hair.
I saw some of that in some of the photos, and they were streaming some of it on Facebook. I saw him in costume. That was awesome.
Yeah, it was a great touch, and so we had a lot of fun, and to be honest with you, we knew, in spite of the fact that they were streaming Peacock at the same time, we had the sense that we were still going to get the audience share in the theaters, because frankly, it is a film that needs to be seen on a big screen. It is. It's a big film. It needs to be seen on a big screen. My preferred way to see it would be to see it, if I were an audience member and hadn't seen it before, I would want to see it on the big screen first, and then on Peacock, or on your own home big screen. But for the folks who couldn't make it to the theater for health reasons, or safety reasons, or whatever, I'm glad everybody got to see it at the same time. I think that was a good move on their part.
I think it was a great move, because I think it definitely did not hurt the box office. And if anything, I think a few people that weren't going to go to the box office anyway might have still watched it on Peacock. So in other words, it got even more viewers watching it on there, I think. But I think everybody that was going to go see it in theaters, once that Peacock announcement came out, they still went and saw it opening weekend in theaters, and the numbers show it.
They do, and there's no blowback. There was no blowback that I know of. Nobody complained about it, man. It's we have free will. You want to go to the theater, go to the doggone theater, man. You want to watch it at home, watch it at home. Make some popcorn, enjoy yourself.
And it is definitely a great, like you said, theatrical experience with an audience. So many great moments. And you mentioned that when you first watch something you're analyzing it, because I was wondering that could you step back and watch it as a film and remove yourself, or are you too analytical, too close to it to really be able to enjoy watching it.
Well, normally I am, but the benefit of Blumhouse giving me a screening like that really helped alleviate that, so I could sit. And then, you know, it's great to have lunch afterwards with Sean and discuss the scenes. And then David called me right after that and said, you know, hey, what do you think? And there's some things we talked about, you know, about the flashback scene, about certain choices David made, and you know, why he made them and how they worked. And that was really beneficial. It was really wonderful to have that screening so that David and I could talk about it before we went to the premiere.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's awesome to hear that he called and wanted to get your feedback right away. Obviously, he values, you know, your first reaction upon seeing it the first time. But that makes total sense that you could relax a little bit more at the premiere, having already seen it and already kind of knew, done the analytical screening in a way, it sounds like. Because I'm like that myself, watching myself on screen, way too analytical, can't really remove. But that's good that you could enjoy the event, because it looked like a fun premiere event from what I saw with the costumes and everything.
Oh, it was a blast. It was a blast. I didn't know how the costume thing was going to work out. I went as Ryan Freeman. In fact, I'll post a picture soon. You know, basically I had very much the same, you know, French blue suit on that Ryan Freeman was wearing, and you know, Ryan Freeman being the partner at
producer,
yeah, producer in the film. And so it was kind of funny that you know, and Ryan and I are good friends, so it was kind of funny that we both showed up wearing the exact same clothes. And so I was like, you know, I didn't go in costume. Yes, I did. I went as Ryan Freeman.
That's even more perfect. I love that. You mentioned the flashback scenes in Halloween Kills, and you worked with Aaron Armstrong. Can you talk a little bit about working with him and why those choices were made for the 78 flashbacks?
Well, it's kind of interesting. So Aaron was the stunt coordinator on this film, and I think a wonderful choice, for all the action, for all the fighting. He brought in an incredible crew of stuntmen and martial artists who were just on top of their game. He's a gifted martial artist himself. In fact, that played into what he did in the flashbacks, because, and I told David Green this, I said, you know, when I initially heard that he was bringing somebody else in to play the young Shape, Attila had told me, and if I'm getting the story straight, they looked at like 200 people to find somebody who moved like I move, and they couldn't find anybody. And so they settled on Aaron. Well, Aaron practices, one of the martial arts he practices is Aikido. I practiced Aikido for you know, specifically Aikido for a decade. It's one of the many martial arts that I put in my little bag of tricks. And there's a very specific way you move in Aikido. You move from your hara, which is 2 inches lower than your belly button. And when you move from your hara, you tend to move in a very smooth way. It's you don't lift your feet up, that you glide, and the gliding is a very, very important part of the way the Shape moves. So I told David when he called, I said, David, you know, I questioned in my mind, you know, why you didn't just use me, because I'm an actor. I'm a classically trained actor. I could play a young me. But then when I saw him move, I was like, David, you did exactly the right thing. And David has a knack for doing the right thing. I mean, he just has this incredible understanding of how to create cinema. And so, you know, I was like, I realized, and Sean had pointed this out when we watched it, Aaron is younger than myself. He's smaller than I am. And he moves the same way, but he doesn't have the exact same physical presence that I do. And presence that I developed over these years and years and years of stunt work and martial arts and meditation and yoga and dance and all the things that I've done, there's a certain, well, Jamie was kind enough to call me before she went to the Venice Film Festival, and we had agreed not to talk until after after we wrapped ends. But she was incredibly gracious and complimentary of the work that I had done. and she had talked about the gravitas and the power that I brought to this character. Well,
Yeah.
Aaron, being Aaron, was bringing what Aaron brings, and Aaron is a very subtle person. His demeanor is very subtle. Mine's a little more out there and aggressive, just naturally. So, the energy of the shape within me is going to be manifesting through the being that I am. And I am 6'3", 215 pounds. Like I have a certain presence and way of, killing and all the things that I do. Aaron really embodied a younger shape. I think he did an amazing job, and I complimented David on his choice because I think it really worked. It was amazing. It was amazing. Aaron did a jam up job.
Yeah, I agree. I thought he did a great job, and I thought everything with that 78 flashback sequence was amazing. How they recreated so much of that Carpenter film right there before our eyes. I mean, it was the best recreation I've seen.
Well, of course, leave it up to David Gordon Green to do that, right?
Yeah, he definitely, and I felt that David Gordon Green had even more confidence in this film to go even further, and I loved it. I mean, he took some bold swings here a few times, and I think it pays off. I think it keeps the audience more on the edge of their seat, and of course, I love all the Easter eggs for the fans sprinkled in throughout always.
Yeah. Well, David has such a deep respect for the fans. He has such deep respect for the franchise. He has such deep respect for what John Carpenter created. And I think you nailed it. David Gordon Green is a very confident man. He's not an egotistical man. He's not an arrogant man, but he's a very, very confident creator. And so, yeah, but the input that he's absorbed, in both of these films, and he is doing now as we create Halloween Ends. He is really, he's an open creator. He absorbs creativity from all ends. And so, Ryan Turek at Blumhouse, and Ryan Freeman and Malika Akkad at Trancas, and Michael Simmons, the cinematographer, and the operators, Paul especially. A lot of creativity were put into this. And so, kind of like my daddy used to say, go big or go home, and David Gordon Green chose to go big, and we jumped on that bandwagon, man.
And he named the film Kills, and I would say it definitely delivers on that promise and that title. What was the most challenging part of filming this? Now that we've seen it, now spoiler alert, if you haven't seen the film, what are you waiting for? Go watch it, then come back, watch the rest of the interview. But what was the most challenging part of filming the sequel for you?
Well, I mean, first of all, it's physically challenging. I mean, and for people who don't know, who've never worked on a film or don't know what it is we do, I mean, but I imagine they can understand that, for every blow to the ribs I took, that you see on film, I took 80 to 100 of those. For every baseball bat across the back, I took, 80 to 100 or 120 of those. So the physical demands, the demands of fighting the firefighters in the sequence, we were fighting, around fire, which is, dangerous and incredibly uncomfortable, even painful. And then we were fighting, ankle deep in mud, because all these firefighters are shooting all this water, towards the house. We're standing in mud, trying to maintain our grip. Physically, it was just incredibly demanding. The spiritual aspect, not demanding for me, because I'm already in the character. I already know that character. That character is already in me. So manifesting that energy once again was the exact same thing as 2018. It's so deeply ensconced in my being that that was not the challenge. The challenge is physical. And when you have, for instance, in the mob scene and the firefighter scenes, you have logistically, you have really, really tight marks to hit. And if you don't hit them, somebody can get hurt, and working super close proximity to cameras. And, there's so many things that can go wrong. And again, the fight coordination, the stunt guys that were hired, the direction, it was all just, it was amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely comes off amazing to watch as a fan, and again, just the word ultimate keeps coming to mind because I feel like Michael the Shape was just presented in every way, from the soundtrack to like you said, the cinematography, the lighting, in every way, and then your performance. It just all gave us the Michael of our dreams, of our nightmares. That we've all wanted to see, and really stepped it up to the next level.
Yeah, it did. And you mentioned the soundtrack. I mean,
Yeah,
wow, does John Carpenter know how to kill it?
man. I mean, yeah. I mean, I just some little touches sometimes he'll do to tweak some of those classic themes and bring it to today. It yeah, it gives me shivers just thinking about it. I loved that soundtrack so much.
Yeah, and you know, and David Gordon Green, we were shooting, you know, before we did the, you know, got back to the Myers house,
Yeah,
and you know, I killed Big John and Little John.
yeah,
You know, David, we were working on some other stuff, and he said, hey, he says, listen to this, man. This, you know, I found this tune, and I got the rights to it. And what do you think of this? And you know, so Last Dance. Wow, what a choice, man. That was so freaking eerie. The first time he played it for us, we were like, whoa,
yeah,
man. That's freaking I mean, that was just eerie, you know?
yeah.
Again, that's David. David is just he's I mean, this all starts at the top.
Mhm.
If you want to point to one point of success for this film, it goes to DGG.
Yeah. What was your favorite memory from the set this time? I think I asked you this in 2018, and I remember you talking about. I think it was your last shot, and kind of the whole crew and everybody was there in 2018. What? How about kills? What's your favorite memory from the set?
Well, you know, there's a few of them. I mean, one of them was reuniting with Nancy Stevens. I used to play tennis at Nancy Stevens and Rick Rosenthal's house. For years, I played tennis there.
I
So
remember you told me that in 2018, and I forgot about it until you just mentioned it again. That I
yeah,
forgot. You did tell me about that. That's crazy.
yeah. So you know, I show up on set to work, and I roll in, and there's Nancy. And I was like, Nancy James, you know, boom. I knew Nancy's mother, Evelyn, who I spent time with her, and you know, have dinner with her occasionally, and she was well into her 90s and just a spunky, amazing woman, and so it was really great to see Nancy, and it was really great to work with her. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To kill her, you know, and the fire stuff, man. Well, of course,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
like 2018, we waited to the very last days to shoot the fire stuff because it's so freaking dangerous, so painful. You know, the go walking through the flaming house. I had to count the steps from the back of the house to the front door because I had to have my eyes closed and I couldn't breathe. And then when I got to the door, I could feel the heat and the difference. Knowing that I was at the door, I had to count the steps from the doorway to the end of the porch and not fall off the steps. But at that point, I could open my eyes completely. I could breathe, and you know, we could do, you know, we could. So the challenge of doing those scenes was incredible.
Oh, I bet. I bet. And then to see it paid off with the finished product. I mean, that's such an iconic scene already. I feel like when you emerge out of those flames, the flames of hell, pretty much, and it's on, and those firefighters have no idea what's coming. But that I think is already just going to make every highlight reel for this franchise for the next 40 years. I think.
Well, it's funny, you know, the autographed pictures I've been signing, the most popular, hands down, is
Uh,
the shape. Myself as Michael Myers. Actually, no, standing at the just standing after I
oh,
came out. I've got the Halligan at my side,
yep,
flames all around me, and there's
yep,
that sort of hero pose right at the
yes,
end of the porch. And it is kind of a triumphant, you know, for the shape, a kind of a triumphant reemergence
it really
from
is.
the flames of hell. Yeah.
Oh, it totally is. I mean, I've got chills right now just talking about it. But It really is. And again, that soundtrack with the guitar revving up right there. I mean, it's just amazing. And that's insane to hear that, you know, like you said, with the fire, and I imagine with the firefighters, there was more choreography involved with those kills. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Oh yeah, man. In fact, you know, you'll see it at some point. The rehearsals from that, you know, behind the scenes. We won't
Yeah,
release those until, you know, after enough
yeah,
people have had a chance to see the film. But the rehearsals were intense. We had, you know, again, a crew of just incredibly talented stunt fighters. You know, when we did the fire stuff, the fire coordinator was a former NYPD fireman. Had lots of firemen around. They had to be. I mean, it was so
oh, wow.
dangerous.
Yeah, yeah,
But you know, the mob scene and the firefighter scene. I mean, the choreography
yeah.
was and Aaron is such a talented he's going to be a director someday, and a very good one. His previs is where, you know, they'll basically shoot the video of the sequence that is going to be put on the film, just to give the director an idea of what you've created. Well, Tim Alverson, the incredibly talented editor, told me that Aaron's previs were the best he's ever seen. He shot it on a red camera. He had special effects. He had gunfire, broken windows, you know, blood. I mean, he created the scenes, and Aaron pretty much created what David Gordon Green shot. I mean, of course, David Gordon Green made it his own,
Yeah.
but he took what Aaron created and built it into something, or built it into what you see. I mean, when you're fighting that many people and you have weapons and you have, I mean, people can get hurt badly, as we well know right now. And you know, tragically,
Oh, yeah, so
you know,
tragic.
but you know, you know, when we had, well, you know, I was shot in the film, and you know, the armorer and the assistant directors and the prop master and the special effects guy. I mean, everybody was there, incredibly efficient, you know, and very clear, and clearing weapons, and knowing everybody knew what was going on. And so I say it's a testament to the professionalism of everybody involved.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said, you know, so many things that the average moviegoer doesn't even think about when they're watching these scenes that go into pulling that off. I've talked to some of your co-stars in the last few weeks, including Carmela McNeil and Michael Smallwood, who played the couple in with Nancy Stevens in the SUV. And Carmela told me a great story. Well, she said at one point you were off, she's filming, and she saw you off kind of playing with her kids, kind of mask off, but still in Michael garb, kind of playing with her. And she said that was one of her favorite memories, which I thought was awesome, being able to, here you are acting, and out of the corner of your eye, there's Michael over there, just babysitting a little bit. And she also told me another great story about filming her death scene that I guess you were there and they were doing some shots with a double, and you were like, when she got in and it wasn't her double, you were like, I'm gonna be here and shoot this scene with her. And she said that really meant a whole lot, that was, you know, it wasn't her double, and it was you and her in that scene. Do you remember filming that?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. And Carmela is amazing.
She is.
She's going to be a big star. She's
I
going to be a
think
big
so
star.
too.
Yeah, she's talented. She's beautiful. She's
Yeah.
humble. She's got all the makings of a big star. And yeah, and her double was great. Her double was awesome. And that's really, I mean, when you think about it, it's really good for a stunt double to be there, to do all the work, to help instruct someone who maybe hasn't done a whole lot of stunt work, but on the day, you know, for her to do the actual work. You know, I mean, they brought a stunt double in for me, you know, Douglas Tate.
Yes.
And Doug Tate, I mean, he played Jason in Jason versus Freddy. Doug is an incredibly good actor. And they brought him in, and he was incredibly respectful and humble. And he was like, dude, I don't want to take any of your scenes. I don't want to do anything we don't have to do. But, you know, there was one scene where Doug doubles me in the movie, where he climbs up on top of the Suburban. I did all the work on top of the Suburban with Nancy and, you know, and the mask and all that kind of stuff. But then there's, you know, then he has to jump off, or the shape jumps off the Suburban. Now in rehearsal, I jumped off the first time and I was like, you know, I can do it. I'm a stuntman. I can do this. Yeah. But the simple truth is, jumping off the top of a Suburban, you know, all it takes is one wrong move and you sprain an ankle or sprain a hip or, you know, tweak your low back. And then guess what? I can't move the same way. I've got to move the rest of the show. And so they brought in Doug Tate to do that jump. And sure enough, there were dolly tracks running across the, you know, running right alongside the Suburban, which made it incredibly dangerous. And especially because jumping in the mask, you can't look down and see where you're jumping. Right, you got to just jump and drop, you know, and you got to jump and drop and not bend your knees like you normally would and bounce back up. So Doug did the jump. It's on film. And he sprained his ankle because he landed on the track, and there's no way he was not going to land on that track. I mean, there's just no way. And so that's why Doug was there. And so, you know, Doug saved my butt, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh man. And again, yet another challenge, but that whole sequence was so masterfully done, and just classic Michael from, you know, jumping on the roof and attacking Nancy that way, and the callbacks to the 78 escape. I just thought, and bringing the Silver Shamrock Halloween 3 masks back into play, just all that was great. And that is really cool to, you know, to hear about, you know, working with Carmela and Michael. Yeah, I interviewed both of them, and they, I think they're both awesome and did an amazing job. And I love that David made that decision. I told them both that he brought them back and brought those characters back and really incorporated them in a great way in this film.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a tribute to David, because David looked at Michael and Carmela and realized that he sees, I think that's one of David's gifts is recognizing talent. Yeah. You know, I mean, there's so many gifts that he has. I mean, clearly he's one of the finest. Well, he's hands down the best director I've ever worked with. Yeah. And that's saying a lot. You know, I've worked with Ron Howard and a litany of other really great directors. He's hands down the best director I've ever worked with. And so it doesn't surprise me that he would see, you know, something in Carmela and Michael and go, nah, these guys need to be back.
Yeah, it is so great. And they have some of the funnest scenes too. You, and I was thinking about this after watching the film for the first time, and I kind of had an idea that this might happen in this film, but you didn't get to work with Jamie Lee this time at all in the film, right? I mean, and now I heard you mention a minute ago that you guys at one point had agreed that you weren't going to talk until after ends, but she kind of bent that rule a little bit to send you that text. But so how did that come about? Was that just a thing between you guys, just to say, let's keep our distance as Laurie and Michael, and then we'll talk about how great it was after it's all over?
Yeah, we just it wasn't like a formal agreement. We just, at the end of 2018, we just kind of agreed that maybe it's better that we just don't communicate and get to know each other any more than we already have, because the dance between us, you know, I didn't see her at all during the Halloween Kills, and so we didn't speak at all. And it was perfect that way, because, you know, of course it's the middle of a trilogy, so, you know, we will definitely dance in Halloween Ends. Yeah. She actually called me before she went to the Venice Film Festival, and was just so complimentary. I mean, she was thanking me for the power and gravitas that I brought to the character, and how much I brought to the franchise. And I only mention this because it's so rare for, I mean, we do our work and we're hired to do what we do. And it's expected when you show up that you're on your game. So, you know, it's really rare when someone compliments somebody else or takes the time, like Jamie did, to have the graciousness to call me and to compliment me the way she did, because she didn't have to. and then, you know, she went on to talk about, you know, we talked about Halloween Ends, and we talked about Kills and what our thoughts were. And she's a remarkable woman. I mean, everybody knows that. That's not new news. But you know, at the end of the day, it was a conversation that was outside of anything that was going to affect what we're going to do. Doesn't affect my character, doesn't affect her character. But I have the sense that after this is all over, as we had talked about, she and I will get together and have a very long conversation. And, you know, I might even know her for, you know, many years. A lot of these people, you know, Andy Matichak and a lot of these guys, you know, like Attila and Common, and, you know, I mean, a lot of these people that you, I mean, when you've made as many films and TV shows as I have, you kind of move through, and you're happy to work with these people, and you're happy to be with them, and then you just kind of move on. I don't know that I've ever really stayed in touch with the producers, but, you know, Ryan Freeman and Malika Todd are friends, not just, you know, Ryan Turek at Blumhouse is a friend. You know, the producer suite, Sean Gowrie and Laura Altman, Rick Osaka, Jason Salzman. I mean, I go to Los Angeles because I'm on the East Coast here. I go to Los Angeles. I have dinner with those guys. You know what I mean? I mean, it's like we get together because we love each other, and we have a special bond. And I think the bond that we all had making these two movies is evident on the screen, because we're a team that loves each other.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And a team that clearly loves, you know, this franchise and what they're doing, and they know how important it is to a lot of fans, like myself being one. I got to talk just a minute about one of my favorite scenes near the end of the movie, and you probably know what it's going to be. And you actually, I remember when we talked in February, you kind of teased it a little bit. You mentioned that you got to spend a little more time outside of the mask in Kills. And I actually love the scene when, you know, Karen takes the mask, says, "Come and get it." And you know, it's another gotcha moment, but I love seeing you stalking her without the mask. And I mentioned this on a live stream the other night. Can't think of another Halloween film where Michael has really been seen without the mask in full shape mode. Like, usually, if for a brief second, even in the original, he's without the mask for a second, and he's kind of like not himself until he gets it back on, then he is. But you and Michael in that moment, I feel like it was different. He was in shape mode and took on that challenge and chased her. Can you talk a little bit about filming that scene? Because it's one of my favorite moments in the whole film.
Well, it's I think, first of all, the power of having the energy of the person playing the shape. I mean, in the '78, they brought in Tony Moran to, you know, to do a single scene, and that was John Carpenter's decision, and it is what it is. It's iconic. It's you know, it's part of the '78 mythology. I think David's choice to have me without the mask, and not necessarily show complete full frontal, you know what I mean? But anybody who's paying attention knows it's me.
Oh yeah.
You know,
well, I mean, I'm sorry. I was just gonna say, I thought it was shot brilliantly. How, you know, it is you, and you can tell, but, you know, it's shot as you want the shape. It's never quite clear and in focus. And I love how it was presented.
Yeah, I do too. And I think it's a very powerful scene because, you know, when the mob scene, you know, the mob is around, and you know, when the shape chooses to put that mask on, it's freaking game on, dog. But it's only, I think it's important that, you know, the shape is the shape with or without the mask. The mask has its own gravitas. It has its own spiritual power, for sure, 100%. But I think honoring, which David chose to do, honoring the fact that the being that is the shape is still the being that is the shape. Yes. And, you know, he showed that at the beginning of 2018 as well, when I was in the courtyard.
That's true. Yes.
So, you know, and there were a few scenes there. And so I think it, you know, on the aggregate, it's really David Gordon Green weaving another layer into the mythos of, you know, the shape.
And there's even a moment when you're in that alley and you're completely in shadow and you're without the mask, but I mean, it's just shot so great. It could be a shot out of the 78 film or a shot with the mask on. It's the shape. It's you as the shape. And yeah, just those little hints of the man underneath, I think is always fun because you don't see too much to spoil anything, but it's definitely, a different way to see Michael spend a little bit of time like that. But yeah, I agree. When he reaches down and picks that mask up, I mean, it is on. Was that scene tough to film? I mean, a lot of people involved in that mob scene, obviously.
Oh yeah, and I told Anthony Michael Hall this.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I told him this at the premiere, because we never talked. Mike and I never talked during the filming, but we, after we were done shooting and we got to know each other. And very special man, very special man. I told him at the premiere that I pride myself on hitting marks and choreography. I'm really, really good at it. I'll hit the marks. I'll do, I know where my lens is. I know where my lights are. I know what marks to hit. I know the sequences of fights. It's just something that I've done so much of. But the first two takes on the mob sequence, I'm supposed to look left and then I look right. And I'm sorry, I look right, I look left, and then I engage right. But first two takes, and I don't screw up takes, man. First two takes, I look left, I look right, I look left, and then I'm supposed to engage right. And both times, boom, I turn around because my spidey sense, like every muscle and cell in my body was recognizing danger. And that danger was Anthony Michael Hall. That danger was that being behind me with a baseball bat.
Mm-hmm.
Everything in me was like, dog, that. So Mike was so deep in his character,
Yeah,
and so deep in the pathos and the anger and the danger that everything in my being had to pay attention to that, because that was true danger. And then of course the third take, we rocked and rolled, and Mike beat the shit out of me.
Did anything in the story of this Halloween Kills, were you surprised, like when you first read the script and saw how it ends? Did anything surprise you?
No, because I've gotten to this place, and Andy Matichek and I have talked about this. Making a film is a team sport. Mm-hmm. And one of the most important elements of playing on a team is if you have any chance at all of a championship season or a winning season, mm-hmm. You've got to buy into the coach's program. So for me, for all of us, buying into David Gordon Green's program is exactly what we needed to do. I bought into it. So what I'll do is I'll read it. Now, David, I will have conversations before we shoot. David and I have talked about Halloween Ends. We will talk about the script. But at the end of the day, buying into David's program is one of the most important elements to a successful film, especially when you have a coach or a director who's proven time and time and time again to make really good choices. So sometimes, well, like I said, I didn't understand why he was bringing, Aaron in to do, the flashbacks. Mm-hmm. But when I saw it on screen, I was like, David, you made the right choice. Dude, mm-hmm. You killed it. You nailed it. You did exactly the right thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's great to hear too, because everybody I've talked to has said similar things. That David Gordon Green is just a great leader on set, and he's so collaborative. Like you said, I mean, any film, it's a team sport, and it takes the whole team and every player, from the behind the scenes and behind the camera to in front of the camera, all the way down to, producers, everybody. They gotta pull their own weight or it all falls apart. And it sounds like he's got a good crew, and I love that most of the behind the scenes, behind the camera talent from 2018 was back, I believe, as well, which is awesome.
Oh, that's amazing. I mean, people left other jobs to come back to work. I mean, and they let their employers know, they let the films they were working on know that, like, I'll work for you for, 6 weeks or 5 weeks or 3 weeks, but, come Halloween Kills time, I'm gone.
Yeah.
And so it was, we really truly have a family. And, I wish I could just sit here and name every single name of every single person that we worked with, because, hair and makeup and, Chris Nelson, of course, but, everybody in hair and makeup and every single department was just on its game, man. I mean, and we all love each other so much and we respect each other so much. And movie sets, by and large, I mean, there are some movie sets that don't work, that are hard, but by and large, movie sets are very supportive and courteous, and you have to be. You're working crazy hours. The last thing in the world you want is disrespect or tempers to flare, or but that starts at the top. It starts at the top. It starts with David, and David sets the tone, and that's the way it rolls. We were all so happy to be back together. It's our family. We have a Halloween family, and we will always have that Halloween family.
And now that family's about to reunite again for Halloween Ends. We're hearing that filming is going to start in January. Everybody's excited for that.
Yeah, man. I'm training my butt off. I'm dieting and training, and I'll be in shape. I mean, I train every day anyhow. I've always stayed in shape my entire life, but to do this kind of work, you have to be in remarkable condition. And I'm training hard right now, man. I've got one more convention in Rhode Island. I may do another one, may not. I'm not sure. And after that, I am 100% here at my house, in the gym, in the pool, training, dieting, meditating, doing yoga, like doing the things I need to do to be in the, in that spiritual and physical place when we start shooting in January.
Oh man. Well, I know you're going to kill it again. And I asked you a version of this question before when we talked, but now that this film's out and it's a success, it's huge box office success, broke records. I mean, best opening weekend of an R-rated or a horror movie with a day and date release. I mean, and it even pushed Peacock up and got more subscribers for that too. I mean, it succeeded in every way it could. And like I said, the fan reaction that I'm hearing from our readers and viewers, they love it like I love it. So now you're already in a pretty exclusive club, but now you're in an even more exclusive and about to be kind of the most exclusive club, because there's a few men that have played Michael Myers. There's a very few that have played him more than once in more than one film. And here you're about to go play him for a third time, a third film. And I mean, other than, Nick, if you count the, the breathing and everything, I mean, but this will be a new record of on camera, in film, one performer carrying it through to 3 films. So you are such a huge part of this legacy now. So I just got to ask, how are you feeling today?
I think, to me, first of all, like Halloween 2018 and Halloween Kills is really the same film. It's just a really long, it's like a 4-hour film, because we're really, we're on the same trajectory. So I don't think about the specialness of that yet. That's one of the things I'll think about later.
Yeah.
But talking about the fraternity, because Aaron and I were in the gym training this past weekend with Don Shanks, and Don Shanks, right? Yeah, and Don Shanks is you want to talk about a special human being. I mean, the man's done some just incredible work, and he's Native American, and he carries with him the wisdom and spirit of a First Nations man. He trains big cats, bears. I mean, the stuff this man has done, and we train together in the gym, Aaron and Don and myself. And when I was talking to Aaron, I was like, welcome to the fraternity, man. It's a very, very, very tight-knit, small fraternity. And for people who don't know, if you got to meet the people who have inhabited this role, Dick Warlock and Chris Duran and Don Shanks and myself and now Chris, and I mean and all the other guys who have played this role, you'll find something really, really, there's a through line to the spirituality and depth of personality in every one of these men. Tom Morga, every one of these guys, if you sat down with them, you'd walk away going, wow, man, like that's a spiritual dude. That's a really intelligent dude. That's a really highly accomplished dude. I mean, so everybody who's inhabited this character is, I feel blessed to be a part of that fraternity. I just feel blessed to be a part of that fraternity. And Tyler Maine is a special guy. I mean, I go down the list of the, I mean, but I'm hitting and these are the men that I've just mentioned, all of whom I got to spend time with, and like considerable time with them. And here I am in the gym with Don Shanks, and he decided to work me out a little bit. Dude kicked my ass. He's in the 70s and still a bad to the bone dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I'm sure he's gonna love hearing that too.
Oh man, and we love him. I mean, we just love him.
He's awesome.
Oh,
he's awesome.
I mean, so there's something in what John Carpenter created that Nick Castle, manifested, and of course Nick being, Nick put the M in Mensch. You know what I mean? He's a guy, you can't meet a nicer guy in the world, and to be so humble for what he's done. He wrote Hook. Last Starfight. Let's go down the list of films that he's made. Skate Town USA, Nick. Skate Town USA, buddy. And so I would encourage the fans, when there's an opportunity, at a convention or whatever, and you hear one of these guys are going to be there, Chris or Tyler or whoever, Don. Any one of those guys that played the role, take the time to spend those few minutes to meet them, because they truly are iconic spirits, and I just got to join them, man. I'm just a lucky dude.
Yeah, well, we're lucky that you're the guy today and now for this current incarnation of this character that we all love. And who knows why we all love him so much, but we do. And we love this franchise, and we love that you're the guy. You're our guy right now. And I know you can't think about it yet, and it'll probably set in down the road at some point, but you're making history, man. You're making history. You're part of that fraternity, and you're a big part of that. I got to tell you. So we're very, very excited for Halloween Ends, and to have more James Jude Courtney as the Shape yet again on the big screen next year.
Be there, man. Next October, be there. We'll give you something to play with.
I love it. Well, James, I know you are super busy right now, and I really appreciate you taking some time to talk to me tonight. I know our viewers are going to love this, and I can't say enough. I love the film. We're going to see it again this weekend, actually part of our Halloween weekend celebration. So we'll be watching you up there doing your thing again. And I could talk about this film all night and keep asking you questions, but I'm going to save a few for the next time we talk, which I figure, it'll be sometime next year. We'll have to do this again. And when Halloween Ends gets a little bit closer. And actually, we're going to see you at Mad Monster Party next February, too.
Awesome. Awesome. I'll look forward to it, man.
Well, man, again, thank you so much for this. This has been a blast. And I know you've got a lot going on, so I definitely appreciate you taking the time for us.
Love it, man. Good to see you, brother.
And happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween, guys.